Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm glad to be here in this conference. We'll spend together almost 1 hour here to talk about the most important things about developing Java applications with Cucumber. My name is Catalin Tudose. I'm from Romania. I work for Luxoft in Bucharest. I have a PhD in computer science. Currently, I'm acting inside Luxoft as a Java and web technologies expert. I have spent many years first in delivery to participate to both telecommunication and financial projects. For about 6 years, I am fully dedicated to developing and conducting courses. So I was saying that we are going to spend about 1 hour to discuss about Cucumber, about using Java with Cucumber, and about behavior-driven development. So the objectives of these presentations are that you find out the fundamentals of behavior-driven development and the basics of Cucumber. And we'll demonstrate the basics of developing a Java BDD or behavior-driven development application with Cucumber. Who should participate to this presentation? Who should benefit from this presentation? If you are a developer and you are new to the concepts of behavior-driven development, then yes, this is for you. If you are a developer that has a current understanding of the principles of behavior-driven development and want to work with Cucumber, yes, this is also for you. If you are a tester who needs to automate a part of the activity, then yes, this is also for you. And we start with the idea of the test-driven development in mind, with a nice idea of the test-driven development in mind. It starts with the idea of a cycle. You have first to write a test. In order to introduce a new feature, you write the test. You are expecting this test to fail, to be read, because, of course, the implementation is not yet there. Then you do the coding, and you are expecting now the test to pass. And then you eventually do the refactoring, so you are improving your current implementation. This is a nice and efficient idea, but it also comes with some limitations that have been obvious during the time. First, the tests are tightly coupled to the implementation. You have to understand, in order to write tests, you have to understand about the implementation. And this is not always a convenient thing. Your tests are focusing on the method or class that is tested. You have to understand what you are doing, what you are testing there, how the method or class is working. In many cases, even if you are making sure that you are doing the things right, the business goals are neglected or even not understood at all. And here comes the next step, which is called BDD, or behavior-driven development. It has evolved from the nice idea of test-driven development. It is a methodology for developing IT solutions that directly satisfy business requirements. So you're looking at the business requirements and you would like to directly satisfy, to make sure they are addressed. So your focus while developing will be to add business value to the application. This also facilitates the communication between the two sides that are participating in the development, the business analyst and the developer. They need to have some common things and some way to communicate, and behavior-driven development will be a very good way to do this. So you are not only making sure that you're doing the things right, but you are going to make sure that you are doing the right thing. So you are directly addressing the business needs. Maybe you are accustomed with the way the requirements are described, because especially in incremental environments like Agile, you are going to describe your requirements with as I want to so that scenarios. So you may say something like, as a usual customer, I want to get an economy credit offer so that I can apply for it. We are going to see that we're having some bank application example that is checking the work with credit offers. And I would like to say here, okay, to describe my requirements, as a usual customer, I want to get an economy credit offer so that I can apply for it. Or some other scenario that I can describe with the same keywords. As a VIP customer, I want to get a business credit offer so that I can apply for it. And this is the business logic that we would like to implement. We're saying that we have two types of customers, usual or regular customers and VIP customers. And we have two types of credit offers, economy credit offer and business credit offer. And we have two policies provided by the bank to add a customer to a credit offer and to remove a customer from a credit offer. And we say, if you would like to add a customer to a credit offer, we look if the credit offer is economy. If yes, we approve request with no problem. If the credit offer is not economy, we have to look if the customer is a VIP. Only then we are going to approve the request. Otherwise, we cannot add a non-VIP customer to a non-economy credit offer. And we also have the policy of removing customer. Remove customer from the credit offer. We ask ourselves, is the customer VIP? Yes. If the customer is a VIP, we are going to reject the request because the policy says once you added a VIP customer, you cannot remove him or her from the credit offer. If the customer is not VIP, we are going to approve the request. And we are going to do some demonstration now. Just a moment, please. So here we introduce our application. It has this customer class. The customer is described through the name and through the fact that he or she is a VIP or not. And we have some credit offers. We are introducing this abstract class of credit offers, saying we have an ID of the credit offer and we have some customer list. So for each credit offer, we may add some customer list to it. And we have two implementations of the credit offer abstract class. We have this economy credit offer saying our policy to add the customer. Okay, if it is a credit offer type economy, we can add the customer with no problem. To remove the customer, first we have to look at the fact if the customer is a VIP or not. And we say, oh, if the customer is a VIP, then you cannot remove him from the credit offer. You can remove him or her only if the customer is not a VIP. And the business credit offer, you can add a customer to the business credit offer only if he or she is a VIP. Otherwise, you cannot add him or her to the business credit offer. To remove customer from a business credit offer, no, this is not possible. Once we have offered him this credit offer, no, you cannot remove him or her from this offer. And we would like to test this behavior. And here we have a first approach, TDD way, as we were discussing. And we may ask ourselves, how many tests do we need? And we say, how many types of customers do we have? Two types, a regular or usual and VIP. How many credit offers types do we have? Two types, economy and business. So two credit offer types multiplied by two customer types, 2 multiplied by 2 equals 4. And we are writing here, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4 tests in order to cover all situations. And in order to know what we are testing, we provided here some significant names to the tests. We say here, test economy credit offer usual customer, test economy credit offer VIP customer, test business credit offer usual customer, test business credit offer VIP customer. So we are working here, for example, we create an economy credit offer, we create a usual customer, and we are asserting everything here. We are checking that everything is going fine so that we can add and remove such a customer to an economy credit offer. Let's see how things are going. So we are running the test. We see here that our tests are green. So it means that our application is working as expected, but we have to understand that we still have some limitations of our tests. First, you see how they are looking like. So we have one method for one use case, and we have to assign to such a method a significant name. We write here, test economy credit offer usual customer. And we are asking ourselves, okay, you are testing an economy credit offer together with a usual customer, but what are you looking for? What are you expecting from the execution of this test? And we do not know yet. Eventually, we may act as the creator of the BDD idea. His name is Dan Norris, was doing in the early days of business-driven development, behavior-driven development, or business-driven development. The test names were starting with should, saying, okay, we have some expectations from such a test. We don't only say we are testing this and that, but we also say should verify and return something. This may be an initial solution, but it will bring us to much larger names for the testing methods. This is not good. We have to easily understand what we are doing, and we have to write it down and read it easily so that we can understand what we are expecting. Here, this is working. This is the TDD idea, but you see these are 4 tests that are executed. They do not tell us which the expectations are. And we ask ourselves, can we do better? Can we tell something more? We go back here to the presentation, and we would like to think about what is commonly known as automated acceptance tests. So usually when the business analyst and the developer are discussing, say, okay, you have to implement this and that, and what are you doing? Yes, this. How do we know that your work is really good, that your work will be accepted as a real implementation of the feature that I was asking you for. And here we come with what we call automated acceptance tests that are automated. So the feature is accepted if we pass this scenario. So we say a scenario. For example, the scenario is economy credit offer, usual customer. So one of the combinations. And we say here, given there is an economy credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. We see here that we have some keywords written in red: feature, scenario, and especially important for our discussion, these ones: given, when, and then. Given is a precondition. What is given? What is provided to you as an input of the test? We are giving an economy credit offer. Which is the action? What are you doing? When we have a usual customer, you do some action. Then what are you expecting? Then I'm expecting that you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. This is the consequence, and we are going to see here frequently in this behavior-driven development terminology this idea of given, when, then, precondition, action, and consequence or expectation. So these are the key parts of the tests that we are going to see again and again, and that we are going to introduce first in some simulation of BDD that we are going to do using only the facilities of JUnit 5. Then we are going to see that these given, when, and then keywords are essential parts that are used by the Cucumber framework, and not only by the Cucumber framework, but also by other behavior-driven development frameworks. Of course, when we are going to make this step towards something new, we start with the philosophy of test-driven development in mind, and we say, okay, what are you testing? This is not the nicest test that I say we can improve the test, but what do we have good? We may say we have some code coverage. We are testing something and we know that our tests are really covering these parts of the tests. You move to the new philosophy. You are expecting to have some improvements. That is really good. But are you keeping the old, good, nice things that you were already implementing? Can you be sure about this? Can you demonstrate this? How can we measure the quality of our tests? One of the measures of the quality of our test is the code coverage. So we are executing some tests and we are asking ourselves how much of our source code is really covered by the tests. So we may formally define the code coverage saying that it is a measure used to describe the degree to which the source code of a program is executed when a particular test suite runs. It is an important metric of the quality of our test, but it is not unique, and we should not think about the fact that, okay, we have a very good code coverage, then our tests are really perfect. We may ask ourselves which code coverage percentage is feasible. What can be really done in practice? What can we achieve in reality? And what I can tell you is that, for example, a minimum of 80% is part of the requirements, is a part of what we call definition of done. So if you work on a project, in most cases, you are going to be asked to have a minimum code coverage of 80%. This feature will be accepted if and only if the code coverage is at least 80%. Can we do it better? We may think maybe we can go through 90%. Yes, in most cases it is possible, but it is a real effort. Sometimes you need to work hard to cover this last 10% or maybe the last 5% because there are things, there are branches that you cannot cover so easily with a test. Maybe you need to do some artifices, and I can tell you from experience that in most cases there is a real effort to go around 90%. Can we do it better? Can we do it like 100%? In most cases, it is not achievable. Real life projects that are more complicated, that have situations of the kind that you cannot so easily go to branches, in most cases will not allow us to go to 100%. But this does not mean that we should not strive to increase the code coverage. The code coverage, as I was saying, is one of the metrics that shows us the quality of our tests. Because if we have good tests and if we have the certainty that the code is safe, then our project will be good. We will be able to add new features without breaking the existing ones, and we may have some certainty that we are really going a right direction in a safe way. We may think about this test like a safety net. So if you are doing something wrong, the safety net will catch us if we fall. But we still have some bad news here. Even if we go around 100% code coverage, it does not mean that our code works perfectly. Why we're saying, of course, that code coverage is only one of the measures of the quality of the tests. This means that maybe our tests are not really high quality to test the base code. So we have to strive to write really good tests, and we have to really think and ask ourselves, are we checking the right things? Are we doing the right asserts? Do we do in our test exactly what we need to do? And I will go back to the demonstration. Here, we are still at the level of test-driven development, and we would like to give a last shot here because we discussed about code coverage. Let's run these tests with code coverage. We see here that we have 100% code coverage. All classes are tested, all methods are tested, are executed, and all lines of the methods are executed. So from this point of view, we are doing fine. Also, the logic of the project really allows us to achieve such a high level of code coverage. I was saying that in real life, probably this will be impossible in large and complex projects. But what we would like to demonstrate is here that when we make the step from this TDD to the new BDD or behavior-driven development approach, then we are not going to lose anything from this code coverage as one of the measures of the quality of the code. And what we would like to do here is to move to a first approach of BDD. Remember, we were discussing about trying to focus on the business goals, trying to understand what our application needs to do in terms of how it addresses the customer needs, how it interacts with the customer. And we are going to move slowly in 2 steps to this BDD approach. First, using the really nice features provided by JUnit 5. Then we are going to make the next step, and we are going to use Cucumber. We remind you that we have an application having customers, credit offers here as a abstract class. We may add these customers to this set, whoever has been added to credit offers, and we have 2 types of credit offers, economy and business. And let's have a look here at how our test, this time written with JUnit 5 and with its facilities, is able to run. JUnit 5 introduces, among others, this idea and this annotation of display name and this annotation of nested. Display name will provide us a label for a class or for a method when they are going to be executed, when the code will pass by there. So remember, if we look back a little here to our first approach, we were complaining that these methods do not tell us much. They have some names. They say we test the economic credit offer with usual customer, but we don't know the scenario and we do not know what we are expecting here. And we say, okay, let's provide usual names for the classes and for the methods, so not long names, but we take advantage of this display name label saying, okay, we are doing this or we are expecting this. And you see here that we're saying, given there is an economic credit offer and you recognize this, given one of the keywords that we introduced as the features of behavior-driven development. And we see here in our old approach, we didn't know what was given. We had only some method that was doing something hierarchically, not hierarchically. Everything was done at once. Here, looking also to this nested annotation, we say, hey, we can classify and we can make a hierarchy of tests. We may have tests that have some relationship between them or classes that have some relationship between them. They are interconnected. And we would like to show this. Let's run this test because this will be very significant now. And let's see how they look like. We may read them in plain English, or we may read them in probably some other language if we would like to label them with the display name. Say, given there is a business credit offer, when we have a VIP customer, then you can add him but cannot remove him from a business credit offer. This is exactly one of the scenarios that we were providing, and this is one way the communication between the business analyst and the developer is made. Or here, given there is an economic credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer. This is something that everyone can easily read, and the business analyst and the developer and the new developer and whoever is now part of our project will be able to easily read and understand and say, okay, what is this project doing? I'm joining a new project, or maybe I'm a stakeholder that is not such a technical person. What is this feature doing here? And we can read this test. We read this test in plain English and we understand what it is about, which are the business goals, what is this feature doing. Let's have a closer look at how things are here. You see, we have labeled this. I say nested. We have test inside this larger bank test. Practically, this is a nested class, but in particular, it is a nested test, a test inside another test. And we say, okay, here one more nested test, because I was saying there is an interconnection between these tests. And this method will make all the assertions here. Will be the last step, the then test, the one that is doing the verifications. And we can see that we are labeling, and we can read from here, given there is an economic credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer. And we have things grouped here. This setup will make sure that it is initializing the economic credit offer and the two customers. And this test will check the usual customer, and this nested test will check the VIP customer, but also on the same economic credit offer. So we have grouped here logically and hierarchically some tests, and we say they are looking much better. We can easily read them inside the code, or we may easily read and understand what they are doing when we are executing them. You see here we have hierarchy of tests. Let's not forget about one of the important quality metrics of the tests. We have just presented the code coverage. Let's run this test with code coverage. Oh, we still have 100%. So we wanted to demonstrate that, yes, even if we focus on improving the way tests are written, and we would like to show that you can easily understand them and they become a communication beam between business analyst, developer, and whoever else is involved in the project. We don't neglect the initial good things that were to be found into the test. So we have 100% here. Still, from this point of view, the quality of our test did not decrease. It at the same level. And we make the last step to this behavior-driven development idea. We introduce Cucumber. Cucumber is a framework for behavior-driven development. What we need to do here, we are adding here some new dependencies in our pom.xml file. Our project is under the management of Maven. We have here these two dependencies for Cucumber. And how are we presenting here features and scenarios? Let's have a look at this special file. This is a file that we haven't introduced. This is a way we haven't introduced so far until now. We have everything concentrated. All scenarios that are defining this feature are concentrated inside this .feature file. This is a special Cucumber file. And here you see that we may read in plain English everything that we are doing and we are expecting. We provide the name of this feature, say customer's policy, and some description of what this customer's policy means. So say the bank follows a policy of adding and removing customers depending on the credit offer type and on the customer type. So you see at glance what you're expecting here to from this feature. You will see, yes, we are doing something with the policy. And you will immediately read this, and this may be even a part of the documentation. Somebody is joining the project or some stakeholder is interested about some features. What is this feature doing? You find here immediately the documentation. Okay, how do we decide that this feature is really working fine? We have this acceptance test. We mentioned that the business analyst together with the developer are establishing together that, yes, we have here to do this and that and that. And in order to make sure this is working fine, we have this acceptance test in the form of scenarios. So we say, scenario, economic credit offer, usual customer. And we read this in plain English or in whatever language you would like to, with the condition that we keep these keywords given when and then. These are the keywords. And then here you may write in whatever language you would like. But here, we, of course, we are writing in English, and we read, given there is an economic credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer. And everything is concentrated here, and everyone will quickly understand what it is about. What is this feature doing, and how do we address the business needs? Okay. And how do we translate this feature file in code? We have here the translation of the feature file in Java testing code. We see here these methods that are now annotated with given, when, then, the classical keywords. Where do these annotations come from? Of course, they are Cucumber annotations. And what are we doing here? Say, given there is an economic credit offer, so this is the method annotated with given there is an economic credit offer. And we write down here what having an economic credit offer means. We have a usual customer, and we say here what this means. And then you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer, and we say what this means, what it means that you have to check that you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer, and everything is concentrated here. And everything is labeled with a significant annotation and some text. So we may look here and say, okay, we understand that for one line of this kind, we have a corresponding method labeled in an appropriate way. But what do we have here? We have given there is an economic credit offer here, and given there is an economic credit offer here. How many steps we have here? We have one repeating step. We have one step that will mean the same precondition. How many methods we have here? We have this method annotated with given there is an economic credit offer that is corresponding both to the step from this scenario and to the step from this scenario. So we are avoiding code duplication. And if we look here at the length of our code, we are going to see that the Cucumber version has 85 lines of the code. And our non-Cucumber version that was providing, that was using only JUnit 5, is having 119 lines of the code. Why? We've been able to do some economy of code that is written. You see, we have here Mike and John defined as customers here, and we have here again Mike and John on the branch of the other nested test. This is to be done twice. Here we still progress in the idea of we still progress in the idea of writing compact code and compact testing code so that you can easily read this. Let's have a look at the execution of the test. We have here a special class that this is the Cucumber test, and this is the class that is addressing the Cucumber test. We are instructing it here to look for features on the class path, and if you look on the class path, you will know that Maven is bringing this resources folder on the class path and say, look in the features folder, look in the features folder, and you are going to find this feature file. And we'll see how we are going to display here in a pretty way. Let's run this Cucumber test that is addressing only one Cucumber written test. There may be more than this. Let's have it here. Look, we are really having something nice. We can read the steps very quickly, and they are on one level. Given there is an economic credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economic credit offer. Given there is an economic credit offer, when we have a VIP customer, then you can add him but cannot remove him from an economic credit offer. It is even easier to read than in the case of this previously executed bank test that was using only JUnit 5. Here you needed to go on some path on the hierarchy, while here each scenario is compacted. And if you would like to see everything at a glance, you have everything here displayed in a pretty way. You read scenarios of this kind, and of course any stakeholder, even somebody who is less technical, will be able to easily read these scenarios and understand this is working, maybe this is not working as I was expecting. So you see the nice way things are displayed and the way we are showing that we are addressing the business needs. And there is still one advantage that we can have here. We may even bypass the execution of the Java tests themselves. We may directly execute the feature. Here, with the help of the plugin, say run this. We may quickly run. We are interested if the tests are executed, as we immediately get this feedback. 4 scenarios, 4 paths, 12 steps, 12 paths passed. So somebody who would like to quickly execute everything, or somebody who would like to bypass the Java code, maybe he's a less technical person, will be able to immediately execute these tests. We may ask ourselves, where do these annotations come? Do we have to copy and paste everything from here and to adjust a little? And the answer is no. So these methods with their annotations may be automatically generated. Let's show that here we are removing, for the moment, of course, two of the methods, and we presume that we are at some time during the development of this feature, maybe at the beginning. We execute this feature. As we were seeing earlier, the scenarios do not execute. And look here, Cucumber is telling us we have to implement the missing steps with the snippets below. So at the very beginning, when we have no method implemented, or during the development of the test, we may automatically generate these methods. The important thing is, of course, the annotation, and we see here that there is a matching between given annotation and here. So we may simply copy the whole skeleton, and then we may start implementing what each step means. Let's give one more try to see that everything is left in a stable, usable green state. So this is one of the beauties of Cucumber. Everything is given to us at a glance, and we can easily follow the scenarios. We may easily understand what our program is doing. So this is one of the nice, great things of the behavior-driven development in general, and of the Cucumber framework in particular. So this has brought our presentation to some end, and I'm looking forward for questions from your side. I see there were some problems. Anything somebody saying it was really practical, has no questions. Still waiting for questions from your side. Question from the viewer: can we use Cucumber with testng instead of JUnit? Yes, this is possible, because Cucumber or some other testing, BDD testing framework will come on top of JUnit 5 or JUnit 4 or testng. What we have to let me show here which will be the difference. We are using here these annotations. These annotations are specific Cucumber annotations. And we'll understand that this given step will correspond to this, when will correspond to this, and then will correspond to this. What you have to know is that Cucumber is making no difference, no semantical difference between this step and this step and this step. For Cucumber, it is just a step to be executed. The semantical difference is for the programmer or for the tester. And where are we checking how is JUnit coming in action here, or how may testng come here into action here when we are using the assert methods. Here we have used the JUnit 5 assert methods. Of course, this part will be replaced. If you would like to use testng, this part will be replaced with testng specific assert method calls. Of course, you are going to keep this way you are writing the feature file. We are going to keep this way we are writing these methods, and we annotate with this semantical significance, but you are going to replace here the assertions. Of course, we'll have to replace here the dependencies for JUnit 5 to dependencies with testng, and here all verifications or assertions will be made through testng. Cucumber will execute this step, and we'll have to see, okay, now I'm not working with JUnit 5, I'm working with testng, and I am going to execute the testng assertions. I think this answers your question. Someone is using it very often. What are you talking about here? What is this it that you are asking yourself if it is used very often? If it is the Cucumber, yes, it is really used often. It is one of the frameworks that have entered in many Java projects nowadays. You may ask yourself, is there any alternative, or why should I use Cucumber? There are some alternatives, of course, like JBehave. JBehave is also a behavior-driven development framework for Java. And it was the first BDD framework developed by the inventor of this BDD, Dan North. And if you worked with Cucumber, you will be able to easily move to JBehave, and if you work with JBehave, you will be able to move easily to Cucumber. You may ask yourself, which one should I choose? There are still projects that are using JBehave, older projects. But nowadays, I would say that Cucumber is really used more often, and it is more dynamic. And if you are starting a new project now that is not having any BDD framework, you should consider rather Cucumber. Cucumber is still under development, and if you have a look at the repository of the code repository for Cucumber, you are going to see that there are commits every week. While if you are looking at the development repository of JBehave, you are going to see that the last commit was many months ago. So we may say that Cucumber is still growing. It is on its increasing way, while JBehave has already overpassed its maturity phase. So if you have some particular preference, or your project has some particular preference, of course you can use whichever you would like, but Cucumber is the one really accelerating now, and it is really providing big advantages, and you may develop in a safe way, and you may communicate in an easy way with people from inside the project, with all stakeholders. So the BDD idea is really nicely put in using this Cucumber framework. Yes, so it was, yes, it was about Cucumber, and I think I have already answered to the question if anyone using it very often. Yes, it is very often used inside the projects. I participated to projects that are using Cucumber. I know about projects from around me that are using Cucumber. People come to my courses at Luxoft, both in Romania and in Poland, to find out more about BDD and Cucumber, and we really developed this course that is provided by Luxoft, the BDD fundamentals, because there was a request from the projects. There is a question if Cucumber can slow down the work of Eclipse and NetBeans. I would say that the best integration of Cucumber is done with IntelliJ. That is why we have chosen to make our demonstration and all our Luxoft courses together with IntelliJ. But it may be used from Eclipse, NetBeans. It depends on the version. The latest versions of NetBeans have some better integration. They had some problems even with the facilities of JUnit 5. You may not see here all these things displayed so nicely, like here. Some of the versions of Eclipse and JUnit and NetBeans, sorry, may not display things so nicely. I've made some tests. If you would like to know more about using JUnit 5 and BDD and Cucumber with different IDEs, this is also one of the chapters of the book that I would like to recommend you. It is currently under print at Manning. So I have analyzed it for many months. It's called JUnit in Action. It also contains some chapters about behavior-driven development, about test-driven development, about Cucumber, about JBehave, and also a chapter about the integration with IntelliJ, with Eclipse, and with NetBeans. The book is currently under print. It has been a little delayed because of this virus problem, but it is already available in the digital format. So it is JUnit in Action, 3rd edition, to be printed before the end of the year. I think we are also having some. If it is used instead of JGiven, I was saying that it may be used instead of other things like JBehave. Even there was a framework called Fitness. So there it may be used instead any framework that is following the behavior-driven development philosophy. If you would like to choose now one, I would really recommend Cucumber, at least because it is really on its increasing path. If you are using some other framework like JBehave, JGive, and Fitness, of course, your project may continue to use it. If there is some automation of creating feature file for all methods in project in Cucumber. I was making this demonstration here. So let's presume that I commented out only these two first methods, but let's presume that our test is empty. Yes, and we have received only this feature file from the business analyst. You see, we have immediately changed the color of these steps because the Cucumber plugin knows that they are not implemented. And if we run here this feature, directly this feature, say, okay, undefined step, and you see here, you say you can implement missing steps. So we have automated the creation of this skeleton methods and their annotations. This is important, the annotation, and we may copy paste this as I was doing when I created this test. Let's presume that we have implemented these first steps. And if we look here, you see the plugin has detected, okay, these steps are already implemented. You have to address the remaining ones. You see the change of the color. So we can really automate the generation of the skeleton of all tests. So thank you so much for participating, and we hope to meet each other in some other conference, or maybe somebody will attend the courses at Luxoft. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now.